Hi, I'm Aaron Chalmers and you're watching Sporting Icons.
Okay, so Tommy Fury went on to Good Morning and he says that in the rematch with Jake Paul, he's confident that he will knock him out. Now, firstly, we don't know if Jake Paul's going to activate the rematch. I would presume that he probably will. Now, as far as Tommy knocking out Jake Paul, listen, it's possible. Of course it is. It's boxing. Anything can and does happen. But he's been saying this for the past 2 years. He's going to knock out Jake Paul. Tommy Fury was the quote-unquote real boxer. What was supposed to happen was Tommy Fury was supposed to go in there and either A, dominate him, or B, knock him out. End this whole YouTube crossing over into boxing. That's what he was supposed to do. But if anything, Jake Paul is probably the one who come out with a bit of credit. Because Tommy didn't dominate him. He won on a split decision. That's reality. And he didn't knock out Jake Paul. Jake Paul dropped him. Now, I know some people say it was a slip. No. He went down because Jake Paul landed on him. That's why he went down. If Jake Paul didn't throw the punch and it didn't land on him, he wouldn't have went down. It's a knockdown. So that's the reality of it. Now, of course, in the build-up, we were hearing how Tommy was breaking jaws and sending his sparring partners off to the hospital, and he was dropping them and knocking them all out, and, you know, he was a big, bad roadman killer and all that kind of stuff. Listen, we know, well, I know, that of the sparring partners that I do know that he sparred, he didn't at all. Now, of course, I don't know all the sparring partners that he had, so, of course, it's possible that something may have happened, but of the ones that I know, not at all. Now, when you've got his brother Tyson saying how Tommy should rematch Jake Paul or fight his brother Logan Paul or a KSI or something, you know, this is the heavyweight world champion. He knows his brother's level. Because if he thought that Tommy was going to go on to do great things in the professional boxing, then he'd say, no, you know, let's make an assault on the British title, the English or whatever. But he's not. He knows where Tommy is. And there's nothing wrong with that. Okay, you can't knock it. At the end of the day, Tommy has come into boxing and pinched a living. That's what he's done, right? Off the back of being the brother of Tyson. Again, nothing wrong with that. I'm not criticising it. But that's the reality of it. He got that gig on Love Island because of who his brother is. And he's made a nice little pay packet from fighting a YouTuber. Now, at the minute, you could probably look at Tommy Fury and think, you know, maybe fighting the Misfit shows. There's not real too much point him going on to the Queensberry shows because at the minute, listen, things can happen, things can change around, and maybe he will improve drastically, but in the progress that he's been making, you wouldn't have thought that he's going to go on to do anything great. So maybe it's be a wasted opportunity if he didn't go into the Misfits, and there's some interesting fights there for him. You know, KSI and whatever else, and Salt Pappy and whoever. Okay, there's some fighters there that he could legitimately have issues with. But at the end of the day, listen, for him to knock out Jake Paul, it's like going around the circle again. You know, we were hearing this for the longest time, and I said before, the one who really came out with any kind of credit was Jake, because he wasn't supposed to go in there and do anything with Tommy. He wasn't supposed to. This is the brother of the heavyweight world champion. This is a guy who's been boxing ever since he came out the womb, right? But he was the one who got dropped. He was the one who won a split decision. Now, he seemed very apprehensive when he fought Jake Paul. You know, just use the jab and move. He seemed like he was a little bit nervous of Jake landing the punch. Now, listen, I've heard, and I'm sure a lot of you have heard as well, that Tommy, he has kissed the canvas a few times in sparring. But at the end of the day, that's sparring. You know, you're supposed to. If you're going to get your backside handed to you, that's where you do it, in sparring. There's nothing wrong with that. That's how you learn. But he seemed a little bit nervous of Jake Paul. I'm not saying he's scared of Jake Paul. I'm saying that he was a little bit nervous of Jake Paul landing on the punch. Maybe he was nervous that he couldn't take it. I don't know. But either way, listen, for me, he won the fight. I'm not one of these people who say, no, Jake Paul won the fight and it was a robbery and all that. No, I think Tommy won the fight. But will he knock him out? Well, I didn't see anything in that first fight that would suggest that he would. But hey, listen, you never know. You never know. So let's see what happens. I mean, maybe Tommy can go on and do some great things if he got himself a proper trainer. Maybe, or maybe not. But does he really need to? If he's earned that kind of money to fight a Jake Paul and maybe go on and fight a KSI or whatever, you'd be mad not to do that. Why would you want to go on a Queensberry show, fight a journeyman for 100th of the price? You'd be mad to, wouldn't you? So, anyway, let's wait and see what happens in the rematch. Drop your thoughts below. Click thumbs up, subscribe. Catch you next video.